Welcome back to the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I'm Mr. U. That's Jess. We're here to talk all things Big Blue and New York Football Giants. I don't know how we're going to do it today. The struggle is real. First off, man, how you doing, brother? How things with you, man?
You know, it's another Monday in September, and the Giants season is already over. It's mock draft season, boys. Let's start looking ahead to 2026.
We in the mocks already, Jess. Oh, wow.
Yep, I've got there have been some guys that I've had my eye on before coming into the season. I love college football, so I just have guys that I follow, and when it comes to the Giants, it's mostly linemen. It's still way too early in the college football season to really be making any declarations, but I've always found it fun, even when the Giants were winning, like in 2022, to be like, who are going to be some guys that can improve this team. But when they start off like this, it's more about, hey, let's just tank.
Oh, brother, well, that's a word I don't think we're going to hear throughout the course of this season. That's the only thing that I'm actually positive about. That word is not going to come out of the mouth of anybody associated with that team, especially after last year and just all that came with it. But, man, I am just punch drunk at this point. We got a lot to talk about, man.
Dude, I've got so much to say right now, but it's at a point.
This is just crazy right now, man. This is nuts to me. Okay.
Well, here's where I want to start. I don't know if you have some other thoughts. Let's start with some of the things from the game, and then I kind of want to get into a bit more of a discussion about how did we get here. We ended up talking a lot about that in the off season, but there was all this hype, all this excitement, undefeated preseason, and now it's just kind of looking like, well, it's another year of the same. So I'm thinking we start with the game itself. I don't think either of us have too much to say about that. I think everybody who watched the game knows what happened, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, there's just a lot of compelling storylines, if you will. We wanted to give Russ. I mean, I'm gonna go all over the map, and we can just touch on whatever you think is valuable. First, game 2. Well, week 2 was a departure from week 1 for Russ. So we just thought, you know what? Maybe he's turned the corner here. Give Doc some more time. Get us playing some high-powered offense, if you will. And he turned into Russ from week 1. I won't quote the numbers. They're just bad. Look them up yourself. They're just horrible. Even the fans were booing when he would come back into a game when Dart would come in. So that tells you a whole lot. Scatterbo essentially saved our bacon on the offensive front. It could have been a lot worse. He had 7 carries, 29 yards. He even got a couple of receptions. And he just dominated, man. 13-yard touchdown for us. After more passes after the first quarter, 61 yards, 6 passes. He was just involved heavily. We got guys that went out with injury. Gano, which I don't know if we can have time to get into that today, but the groin injury, I kind of feel like you do. Like he probably should be already ghosted by now, but he's still here. Tyrone Tracy, like a shoulder injury. Don't know how long he can be projected to be out. Even Spider got hurt. Might have extended his knee, but I think he's going to be okay. No injury designation for him at all. League neighbors fighting for a ball in the end zone. He got popped in the helmet, hurt his shoulder. I think he went out, left the game, and came back in. And Sexy Dexy might have suffered an elbow injury as well. So he missed a few plays but came back in. So this is the I brought it up first because like, what else can you do to make this thing worse than what it already is? How can we make this thing even more steaming pot of what it is right now? Adding injury to key players, people who we need. Everybody got a need we need to be healthy. And Andrew Thomas is not even in that list, amazingly. And all these guys are hurt or dinged up. And we're talking about going into week 4 against the Chargers with this kind of situation going on. So it's like, what Defensively, man, I think he did a lot of good things. Kayvon was in Mahomes' face all night. Spider was basically destroying the stat sheet. Man had 6 tackles. He had his fourth sack of the year. Tackles for loss, QB hits. He got to Mahomes, defending passes, forced fumbles. I mean, he was everywhere. So he did what he had to do. The problem seemed to be more on the offensive front for some strange reason. So we can talk about Spags and his two safety high scheme. What do you do when that happens, man? When your opponent's going too high safety, you ain't got but two options: establish a running game or intermediate passes. And for some reason, Russ couldn't even get the intermediate passes going. Underthrowing balls to neighbors. Got a middle of the field, you can't capitalize on it. I'm like, we off. I mean, that intentional ground, that was like sad. I'm like, man, this man Super Bowl winning quarterback and you panicking right now. I'm like, this is. I'm surprised. I was rooting for Russell, and I said it on record many times on the show in the preseason. I think he can hold us up for the season at least until Dart is ready, or the next season. The man is skittish in the pocket, looks like he's afraid. I'm like, wow. I was wrong, man. I was wrong about him. I don't think he got it. I don't think he can help us go forward. I'd rather just have Dart come in and let's see. It is what it is. He gets popped. You get popped. You get a QB hit. You get hit. You throw touchdowns and air the ball out. That's what you do there. But it's better than sitting here and watching this for another week. I can't do it. Hopefully, Dayball can't either. Go ahead, man. What you got, brother?
I don't have too much to add. I think you really kind of summarized the issues with the game. The fact that I don't. Either way, this is an indictment on Dable and Kafka and the coaching staff offensively, because either you refuse to move off the game plan when you saw what Spags was doing and that wasn't working. You couldn't find a way, despite supposedly being these offensive-minded guys, these offensive gurus. You couldn't scheme up a way to get Neighbors the ball or just move better against this too high look. Or you could, but you chose not to because you were trying to play into what Russ can do rather than just making the switch to, again, well, I guess it had to be Dart because Jameis was technically only was inactive except for like an emergency situation, or however that exact thing works. So either way, you're either incompetent or stubborn. And that stubbornness is something I want to get into a little bit later regarding Shane and Dable. But like, it is so frustrating once again having a one-dimensional offense that the opponent just does one simple thing and everything, it's just off the table for us. We suck. It's just, it gets to a point where I have been a defender of Shane and Dable for the past couple of years, saying, we need to let them get their quarterback. We saw what they were able to do in 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was an easier schedule, but the offense was functional for the most part. Like, it's not like we were this, team that couldn't move the ball. We had some red zone issues, but like the whole at the time, it seemed like, hey, once these guys aren't screwed by the cap, Gettleman left, and are able to get some of their guys in, this is going to be a real team. And that has not been the case. Now, I personally don't think that the moves and the drafts that we have had these past 4 years now or well, really kind of 3 because it's too early to judge
Yeah,
this year.
kind of three. But yeah, go ahead.
3 years are as bad as people make them out to be. And I did this in the off season, and I'm gonna do it again because I think again we've touched. No,
No, sir. It was
no.
it was not advised.
We didn't have prime Calvin Johnson down there to catch that. I think that is the only time throwing a ball into triple coverage has ever been the correct decision. Was I think it was Stafford saying, "Screw it, Megatron's down there somewhere, Calvin Johnson's down there somewhere." But I kind of want to go through the timeline here because I don't have too much more to say about the game. It was pretty much a rinse and repeat of the Washington game. Defense didn't look great, but was able to somehow keep us in it a little bit. They need to work on tackling. I wish Abdul Carter would, as smart of a play as, him kind of running at the guy, hands in the air to disrupt his vision. Sometimes I just want to see you go lay the guy out, just dive at him, do something, wrap him up. But, Phillips, Drew Phillips got burned constantly. Adebo would have a good play here and then get burned. Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin have been non-factors this entire year. But we know all of these guys can play. And yet, for some reason, once again, it feels like a draft class that looks so promising is regressing. So I want to, again.
And guess what's going to happen? If they decide to go to a different team, you know what's going to happen, right?
They're going to look great. And that's exactly.
I don't care. I have no evidence to prove it that it will happen with these guys, but I'll hold that belief. So I'm blaming the Giants organization. There's something wrong here. But these guys, I said 3 weeks ago, I think Nubin is a stud, but we need to get him to bring
all
that.
Of a sudden he can't tackle. All of a sudden he can't tackle. Phillips last year did have his issues in coverage, but it wasn't this bad. What else? Theo Johnson Theo Johnson didn't have the greatest hands last year, but this year it feels like he's dropped almost everything thrown his way.
Not a tight end one. That's why is he there like that? No looks last night at all. I think he had one look last night the whole night. Why is he a tight end one? Dexter Lawrence, invisible, the third straight game. No impact on the game. The best defensive tackle in football, arguably. No.
He was grimacing in pain last night. But again, I think actually Dexter Lawrence's issues this year have been slightly overstated. It's not that he hasn't been having an impact. It's just similar for Kayvon and Abdul Carter. No. Similar to Abdul and Kayvon, these guys are getting close, but they aren't being able to finish. The only guy that seems to be able to get both pressures and sacks right now is Burns. He's the only one on this team that's consistently getting pressure and actually finishing, by tackling the quarterback. But Dexter Lawrence last night, that was his worst game of the year so far. In those first 2 games, he would frequently, he'd be pushing his guy back. He'd be getting double teamed, and then he'd get right near the quarterback, but the quarterback just got the ball away. But anyways, again, I want to kind of go through this timeline here because I told you this before we hopped on here live. I'm seeing people talking about they miss Joe Judge, they miss Dave Gettleman, and it's like, no, you don't. You're just really pissed off right now.
That's laughable. Yeah, but I hear you.
So here's Dave Gettleman's first draft class, 2018. Saquon, stud, but we all know what happened there. Will Hernandez, really solid for us for a year, for his rookie year. Then he regressed, had some injuries, and I don't even know where I think is he a free agent still?
Cool.
Then Lorenzo Carter, I don't even think he's rostered right now. BJ Hill, solid depth guy. He's done well for himself over there in Cincinnati. Kyle Lauletta, RJ McIntosh. 2019, Daniel Jones, bust for us, looking great in Indy. Dexter Lawrence, absolute stud. DeAndre Baker, heinous draft pick. O'Shane Ximenez, not great, to put it lightly. Julian Love, solid for us, but seems to have been doing a bit better in his time in Seattle. Ryan Connolly, I don't think he's on a roster.
Yeah, I can speak to that. He's a big Seahawks fan. Bo is. He has the question on the screen. He probably can speak to how great Julian Love actually is. I'll let him jump on that if he has time to do so. But go ahead, keep going.
All right. Ryan Connolly, I don't think he's on a roster anywhere. Darius Slayton, still with us, been a very solid receiver. Probably better off as a 3 than a 2, but it is what it is. Corey Ballantyne, I don't know where he is right now. I want to say I think he signed over to New England. He might be on their practice squad or something. I don't know if he's rostered officially. Oh boy, I lost my spot here. Lost my spot. Where? Come on, draft classes.
He's with the Packers. So I don't know if he's on the PS or not. He's with Green Bay.
Green Bay. Okay, and then George Asafo Adjai, and then Chris Slayton. They never recorded a single stat for us, and I don't think they're in the league.
So there's your answer to Love. He's balling out. There you go. I'll bring
balling out there in Seattle. Well, I'm happy for him. I am happy for him.
Yeah.
2020. Andrew Thomas, great when healthy, hasn't been able to stay healthy. Xavier McKinney, great for us. Don't know why Shane decided to let him walk, but it is what it is. Matt Pert is a backup somewhere. Darnay Holmes is a backup somewhere. Shane Lemieux, Cam Brown, Carter Coughlin, TJ Brunson, Chris Williams, and then Tay Crowder, I don't think is in the league anymore. So again, he's had a couple big name hits, but not a lot of depth. 2021 is maybe, it has a case, as the worst draft in Giants history.
So why are you sharing this with us?
Because I want to reiterate to people where we were versus what we are now.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney, not on a roster. Azeez Ojulari, a backup in Philly. Aaron Robertson, Ellerson Smith, not on rosters. Gary Brightwell, backup somewhere. And Rodarius Williams. So over the course of that time, we had Schumer. Right. Wait, no. Is it Schumer?
Cool.
The oh my God, why am I blanking on the name? The head coach 2019, Jones's rookie year. We're going to go through the coach. Pat Schumer. Right? Is that his name?
Jeez. Sure.
Yeah, Shermer. Dang.
Let's keep moving. Good.
So we had let's see here. Pat Schumer and Joe Judge before Brian Daboll. They combined for 19 wins and 46 losses. They were not good. That just because Daboll and Shane are not doing well right now does not mean that what came before was all that much better.
You mean to tell me that you sit there and went to that whole draft so you can win an argument with your friend? Are you kidding
not
me
an
right
argument
now?
with my friend. When it's not an argument, it's just
can't come back. He probably can't even come back in the same airspace as where this team is at, right? That's over.
But my point is that for what Shane has done, I think he has put this team roster construction wise in a better space than it was. That being said, Dable has not been able, and this coaching staff have continued the trend of guys who have solid rookie years don't develop. Guys who we bring in as free agents do not look like the guys they were, no matter how old they are. Like if signing Russ at his current age is different than signing Russ at 28, like in 2019. That's just
hindsight 2020, right?
I don't but the frustrating part, I think at this point, especially with what Daniel Jones is showing you, is that it is a coaching issue. It isn't a GM issue. Like,
this is why 2 weeks ago I told you there's a real scenario where Daboll's going to be out and Shane's still going to be sitting there in that seat. It's a real scenario.
Still don't think that is possible, but
it's not impossible.
Well, I mean, that means Mara actively chooses to re-sign and extend Shane and not Dable, which I don't think is
re-sign.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure they're in the last years of their contract. Sorry, I'm just now seeing. Does Dable or McDaniel get fired first this year? Probably Daniel, just because I think the people in Miami are going to be way more fed up more quickly. It is very rare that the Giants would fire a coach mid-year, but also the Giants have Dart to turn to, which is Dable's lifeline.
That was my point. Yeah.
So if Dart, if he gets the start against the Chargers this week, he'll probably not look great. But then he'll have a game against the Saints. So hopefully, they'll be able to hang.
No guarantees in this schedule now.
Nothing.
Not now. We lost 2. We lost 3 winnable games. 3. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says I hear about the Giants. I know that we suck in more ways than I can possibly quantify today. But we had 3 winnable games that we gave away. Period.
So
we would have sucked and been 3-0 and still suck. So yeah, I'm going with you because of the Dart part. I'm going with your response because of the Dart factor. I think McDaniel will first, just because of that part. No other reason. Just because of that.
Everyone's right. Yeah, most likely. But right. My long, incessant rambling there was leading me to this.
Bring it up. Let's go.
That Shane's process, I actually like and have agreed with. The only decision of his, his mentality of how he structures things with the cap, how he, where he's kind of like, I think, and it's really because I can't speak too much to the drafting stuff because at the end of the day, it is just a crapshoot for everybody. Like you can draft for need, and if those needs hit, even if it's not best player available, which a lot of people think is the best way to go, where it's like just put the blue chip talent. Like if you hit, you hit. But people acting like have a good one, but people act like if you are, drafting for need, that is inherently a bad thing. But at the end of the day, it's if you hit, you hit. If the guy hits, it hits. But Shane's thought process of certain positions just inherently have more value, I do agree with. Like letting Saquon walk wasn't a bad decision in my opinion. The only reason anybody is still talking about it is because of where he went, not that he went. If he had signed with Houston or Chicago, 2 teams that were rumored to be pursuing him and were willing to throw big money at him, similar, if not possibly even more than Philly offered, we would not be having we would still be rooting for the guy.
I don't fully agree with that. But I feel like it was because of his production where he went, not because he was in Philly. If he went to,
I think people talk about
if you went to the Steelers, if you went to anywhere and had those kind of numbers, we still be getting vilified.
Because I disagree, and you know why I disagree? Because of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, that exact same offseason, left the Titans and signed with Baltimore. And nobody talks about that. It is only the Giants.
Now, seriously, those two that's apples and pomegranate. Seriously,
how is that so different? It's not. Derrick Henry was incredibly productive his last year there, and as we saw last year, still incredibly productive.
He was incredibly productive because he was basically given the ball more time than most running backs in the league. You got it.
Not last year.
Yes, last year and the year before that, and the year before that too. He was. The years between them were different, man. He was 26, 27 years old. Trust me. He
had 300 carries last year.
It's not
even the most in his career. And the year before that, he had 280. Look, I'm not saying that it's exactly the same, but it is. I don't think it's that different. The reason why we had the offseason Hard Knocks thing that put an extra large spotlight on it, and the fact that it was our biggest rival. That is why so many people are so angry about it. That's why people in the national media still clown on us for it. And yes, obviously, Saquon Barkley nearly breaking the all-time rushing record and being in MVP conversations and leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl was all just icing on that you-know-what cake. But again, I think the only decision Joe Schoen has made that I have truly disagreed with was letting Xavier McKinney walk. But the bigger issue isn't the GM. It's the coaching. We have seen time and time again that we get these guys in, these blue chip guys, and we cannot elevate them. And if they start out solid, they immediately regress. And the guys who come in here suck, as I was saying earlier. And if you told me last year that we were going to get Javon Holland and Paulson Adebo as our two big name free agents this offseason, I would have been over the moon. And yet they have been just bad. And we know that they're not bad players. So to me at this point, I don't hate Joe Schoen. People acting like Joe Schoen has been a terrible GM is to me, obviously you got to put your frustration somewhere, and he and Dable are a package deal, but I don't understand this idea that he's just everything he's done has been the worst possible decision. Every decision he's made has been the wrong one. Every draft pick he made sucks outside of Malik Neighbors.
Who are you listening to?
Have you been on Twitter?
No.
Smart choice. Your mental health must be way better than mine.
Yes, it is. And that's because that's nonsense.
But this is
the most unforgivable sin in the world. If you think him letting Barkley go is unforgivable, even if you feel that way, you can't say anything he's done is so. I'm not really a big fan of the whole thing with I was talking about the void years that you were off air because I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, the team who just won a Super Bowl, they rocked void years like nobody's business. $390 million plus in cap dollars. To say the least, the next team after them is San Fran at $204 million. So they don't have a problem investing, quote unquote, in the future. Yes, it may cost them something, and they have to get rid of a guy and cut a guy. That could hamstring the franchise a little bit, but this team right here, we're not doing that at all on the Shane. He's not. There's no. I don't think we're even on the list of. I think it's 0. So that helps out from a happy efficiency standpoint. I'm sure Marv was like, "Hey, this guy saved me money." Okay, that looks good, but if you really are trying to contend, you got to do something. So that's my question.
That's a Mara thing. That's not a Shane thing. The Void Years is all about essentially how much money is ownership willing to shell out. More or less, like in order to afford doing all of that, the Eagles owner had to sell a portion of his stake in the team, because so much of that is kind of like immediate now money that they then manipulate. But essentially, he has to have some immediate cash to just throw at these guys. And the Brett Coleman has a phenomenal video breaking it down on YouTube. Highly recommend. He's one of the best in the game out there. Shout out Brett Coleman. I had an hour and a half plus drive up to my buddy's house, and when that video of his dropped, and I wound up listening to him talk about void years and contracts for over half an hour. Like it was great. But essentially, like that's a Mara thing. Like the Giants could try that. I don't understand how it works in its entirety. I have to listen to that video again, but it's a whole thing that the Eagles are essentially planning on once the cap receives a massive spike from the new TV deal they're going to get in a few years. I think it's around 2028, 2029. That is also happens to coincide when most of their contracts are up, and that massive cap hit is going to come in. So they'll just be able to extend their guys and let the new massive cap just eat up that percentage. And essentially it'll be like nothing happened at all, and they'll just be fine. But we're seeing missed tackles. We are seeing sloppy penalties. We are seeing mind-boggling personnel decisions from, and this one is on Shane, in part, because I imagine he talks with Dable and all these guys, having an old kicker that once again injures himself in pregame warmups. Thus, we do not have a guy we don't have time to activate a backup to even just kick extra points and close field goals to, keep those points, keep us in the game. It is these stupid, dumb decisions that, like, even Andrew Thomas, like 25 snaps is all he got. One extended drive is over half of that. Like if you have an 11, 12 play drive that, forget even resulting in points, just, like moves you down the field, that's it. Like I don't understand so many of these coaching decisions. Russ is being booed coming back onto the field after a couple plays from Jackson Dart. They are in the red zone. It is first or second and goal, and Wilson comes in, and their big brain, galaxy brain, I'm smarter than you move is call a play action quarterback keeper with a 36-year-old and just throw away a play after the issues he had been having all night. And these guys can't dial up anything easy. Like there is no just gimme. Like, did we run a single slant? Did Russell Wilson throw a slant route, a quick 5-yard slant to Malik Neighbors last night? No, we did not. We couldn't engineer anything easy. We see, as you were saying earlier, how do you beat a too high safety look? Intermediate and quick game. And we couldn't do that. Every other team in the NFL has figured out that, we're going to be, we see these guys, the too high looks have erased the deep ball and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? We just we'll take what the defense gives us, and we're just gonna kill you by 1,000 cuts. Giants can't. And that is the only thing in my mind that, as I said in the very beginning, that Dable needs to just pull the trigger on Dart. Because it's either he's incompetent or so stubborn it's mind-boggling. I don't care if it's Dart. Put in Jameis. I want to enjoy my Sunday. Even if we lose, I want to be able to watch the highlight. I want to have highlights to watch, to look back on and be like, oh, man, that was great. Yeah, we lost. That was rough. But, man, Neighbors went out and got that one. Or what a play from Slayton. You love to see it. But there's nothing for us. And that's why I think, we have talent on this roster. We just can't utilize it to any degree. Offense, defense, it's a coaching thing. I don't think it's a GM thing. At this point, I think it's a coaching thing.
I don't have any doubt. I've already said it multiple times the past few weeks, but definitely twice on this show so far already. This is a coaching thing, man. Because there's no way in the world, that we are looking at these guys on here that's talent. There's a lot of guys on the defense. I talked about it in the preseason. They don't impress me at all. They can leave the team now, and I won't shed one tear. I won't even say once a Giant, always a Giant. You just gone. I don't think they bring anything to the table. There's a whole handful of guys on the defense I have no regard for. Why they're even there, they're just dead bodies in my assessment, and you give them starting jobs. But the coaching part of it, that's what this is all about. This is the coaching thing. Because even though Spags, I hold him in high regard, we got a Super Bowl because of Spags. Real talk. So I know that his defensive prowess. But I don't think he tried that hard Sunday night. I think for him it was easy because we never adjusted. And when you got a coach that won't adjust, that's scary to me. You come out of the first half and you go into the locker room and you come out and you do the same thing you were doing before. That's scary. That's a coaching issue. That's probably one of the only reasons why I said if it was a toss up between whether either the GM or the head coach would stay, to me it's easy. It's snake eyes every time. He's gone. I'm saying because you can make an argument for Shane to stay because of his prowess with the finances and stuff. We're going to be in a good spot in 2026. I think it's 2026 and 2027. We're going to be in a good financial spot. I think the first year, 2026, I think it'll be like $61 million, something like that. It's a really good number. All the sacrifices that we're taking right now, all these years that he's been at the helm. But with Dayball, it's like, man, we see so much stuff. Like, I don't know if you're right, if he's stubborn or not, or if he just can't coach. Maybe it's both of them. Maybe he's just stubborn and he can't coach. Because what we're seeing, it's abysmal. I can't spend too much time talking about the offense. I think I'm offense wiped out. I think I'm defense wiped out too, man, to be honest with you. So I want to ask a question that you asked about, or try to answer anyway, about do the Giants even get the 3 wins, which is a sad commentary. I got guys on TikTok that was lacing you and I. I don't think you even saw, but they were lacing us when we suggested that they would double the win. So I said, why not? I picked a game that we should win with a competent quarterback. I didn't realize that he wasn't going to do what he did and be who he's become. I'm like, 3 wins. What we did last year, we can eclipse that easily. I was confident about that. Rather than to 7-8 and 8 wins, I was kind of a little bit nervous, but I'm like, we can still do this. We left 3 games on the table. I don't care what nobody said. You can talk to me all day long. I got a Cowboys fan right down the street over here who loves to give me the business, but guess what? His team escaped. And they got the Chiefs kicked in last night. We had 3 games that we left on the table that we could have won. All you had to have was competency, the ability to adjust. And those games are won. Period. no question, against the Chiefs, against the Cowboys, and definitely against the Commanders in week 1. Definitely. But because of coaching, we can't say that. So do we make it to 3 wins? I'll not even answer that question.
I don't
think you and I predicted that they would be 3-0 right now. I don't think neither one of us did that.
I think we both said best case was 2-1.
Yeah, that was really, really a best case. I didn't know who the Chiefs were going to be. I didn't know where they were going to be out. Rice, his suspension wasn't. I don't think his suspension was even announced at that time. We were doing the first analysis, if you will.
No.
So I was thinking maybe 2-1 at best, 1-2 at worst, and then we come back to the Saints and maybe get up to either 2-3 or 2-3, or maybe we pull it out in Chicago, Los Angeles, and be 3-2. I don't know, but this right here, I'm not even answer this question. 3 wins, where? Because if you can't,
you'd hope. Bears, you'd hope.
I can't do that.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, before the season, I saw Saints game and I was like, win. I'm not like that anymore. The games that I think, based on how these teams have played through 3 weeks, the teams that I think they have a chance to beat down the line, Saints, I think they have a chance. Bears, I think they have a chance. Patriots, I think they have a chance. Raiders, I think they have a chance. Cowboys, I think they have a chance. Now, rightfully, they probably will only be favored in one of those games, and that will be the Saints game. But that's more about the Saints than the Giants. So it is very much on the board that we do not win a game this season. And that one guy on TikTok who everybody in the Giants fandom was clowning for saying we go 0-17, by God, that would be the craziest bet of all time if someone actually correctly predicted a team to go winless.
Could you imagine the amount of phone calls that you and I would be getting if we go 0-9, 0-10? The phone call, we might even get letters in the mail through the U.S. Postal Service. It would be an abomination. I probably couldn't even go on social at all with that, because that's unheard of. That means that we were actually worse this year than we were last year, and we improved the defense by a wide margin. You tell me
theoretically
we wouldn't win one game? It's not theoretical. It's an improvement, man. I saw what they had last year. It's an improvement. You mean to me that we go to 0 and no wins? I don't want to even imagine this. I'm trying to say yes, just out of pure hope and faith. 3 wins, sure. But you and I predicted, I think that's over.
Oh, it's long gone.
Prediction is smashed.
Long gone.
I don't see it. Doc can come in there and light the world up, but it's like it's so hard to put that on him and envision that without any empirical evidence. You know what I'm saying? So if we're wrong about that, he comes in and lights it up, and we go on a super high winning streak. We'll talk about that on an upcoming episode of the BBL podcast. But until that happens, I think we can get 3 wins. But my goodness, we gave some diggies away already the past 3 weeks, and the Saints are not somebody I'm like. If you can't defend Waheed Shaheed, he gonna eat you up. He ain't nothing but the long ball man anyways. 46 yards, 60-yard passes. That's what he's about. So if you can't handle that, even with rap, they'll still eat us up. We gotta defend. Back to coaching again. So I'm gonna say yes to your question. Yeah, we can get the 3 wins, but my prediction, I'm out.
The last thing that I kind of want to touch on is it goes back a little bit more to the coach and Shane. And this is the one thing that I truly am like, this is indefensible from both of them. You know, it's not a one or the other thing. why are Jalen Hyatt and Evan Neal still on the team? Like, really, why?
Well,
Jalen Hyatt in
one guy
particular,
because they got trade offers for him and wouldn't take it.
exactly.
That's why one guy's on the team.
We received trade offers, and I can only imagine the reason we didn't trade him was Joe Shane didn't answer that phone and was like, yeah, sure, we'll take a fifth for Jalen Hyatt or something like that, was because Dable was like, no, we need him. We're going to be incorporating him into the game plan in some way. I think he got his first snap last night. First snap. And I don't even know if that's snaps, plural. He might have been in there one play and definitely wasn't targeted.
I have no idea that happened.
Evan Neal is like, I don't know if we could cut him. And even if we're eating some dead cap, I think we'd be eating like 7 million dead cap, which is obviously more than you want. But at the very least, we've got a roster spot open for someone who might actually be might be on the active roster and not a healthy scratch every week. Like, I don't understand why this is the kind of thing that bad GMs and bad coaches do. And they do not ever, they're never, I made the mistake, I need to move off of it as quickly as possible. That is not what they do. They are lingering on these two in particular, and I do not understand it.
You can stay there, man. But like I said, I don't want to go through the depth chart because I know it would be completely disrespectful. There were many guys. I said, tell the truth. Let me backtrack on something I said earlier. I said about the defense. I'm talking about the offensive line too. Some of the guys, I'm like, yo, all they are is just bodies out here. They're not going to be able to produce nothing. I haven't been proven wrong yet. On either side of the ball, the guys I was talking about, that I named and stuff. What's going to happen when it's time to start loading up on some real talent? 80% of the roster will be gone. But look how much your team's going to change in an instant. Because all these guys you got here giving all this money to, and they're not producing anything for us. That part right there, I don't know if you can blame Dayball for this part. We got guys just like you just hanging around collecting a check, and you're not helping us at all. Now, to me, that's egregious. So as much as I got to be for the coaching, there's some things that are on chain. So we had a question about the GM and the head coach, man. But go ahead, round us out with that, man. What was your question?
Well, it was just something I figured. Yeah, I don't know if we want to revisit this immediately, being that there aren't real options here to discuss just yet. But what we don't need names, but I do want to ask, what kind of coach would you like next year? Like, are we looking at just a hard-nosed defensive mind? Do you want to continue with the young kind of offensive innovator? Well, what do you think the Giants need right now?
What do they need? Okay, well, now you asked me two questions. You asked me what I want, and now you're saying what do I need?
Well, you can answer both.
This is a fantastic question. I love it. I love this question. As far as what I want to see happen, I have a guy on offense, and I have a guy that's a defensive-minded coach. We discussed this partially last week or week before. I hesitate to say his name because the team that he's on, I didn't feel like they would let him go. But in hindsight, giving him a chance at a head coaching job is a good idea. And that's Jesse Minter. I'm partial because I'm a Michigan fan. Let's be real about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the Chargers before Harbaugh, but I'm really watching them now just because he's there. So I'm super partial. I think his defensive mind is exactly what we need to have on this particular team. Even with the bumps on the defensive line right now, even with them, I still think that he brings them to the table. And I mentioned also last week, Kingsbury. If we don't have a guy that's a quote-unquote defensive-minded head coach, if we have to outscore everybody, I don't think it's a bad thing. Now, we're not doing that with just Neighbors and Wandale. Some other stuff got to happen back then. It's not Lil Jordan. It's not that. I don't think the Jalen Hyatt either, to be honest with you. So if we got to outscore guys, so be it. But what I think they need is to return to what makes the Giants famous, what made them legendary. And that's to be that smash mouth defensive presence that strikes fear into the hearts of quarterbacks. So I think if I'm asking against what I want, what I need, I think they need to have a defensive minded coach, somebody who cares about grinding it down and not getting blown out by 40. So I would still go with Jesse Minter there. We're talking about Brian Flores, but there's some complications that could prohibit that from happening potentially. But I'm really partial to Minter for a couple of reasons. But to answer your question, we need a defensive minded head coach, I think. We lost our identity. We forgot who we were supposed to be. They brought all these guys supposed to be in elite defense. You and I both had the words elite on our tongue. We actually said it out loud. And we thought these guys can be potentially in elite defense. So somebody was thinking about returning back to the Giants' former glory. Or all the guys been invented. They put the money somewhere else. They spent money on linebackers, which is what they should have done in a whole bunch of ways. Spend money on wide receivers. They probably should have done that as well. They need a running back too. So they didn't. They put it all on defense. So somebody was trying to reclaim the Giants' former glory. So defensive-minded head coach is my answer. You agree with that, or you got something different?
Nah, I 100% agree.
Here we are, brother. Oh my goodness, this is brutal, man. And now I got to see them play against, people that I like. Like that.
Yeah, now we're going up against Minter. They're going to get a first look at him on Sunday.
I mean, just check out the numbers. Look at where the Chargers were year before in 2024, and look at them now. These guys are almost a top-ranked defense right now. That's not coincidence.
I mean, they were a top-ranked defense. I think they were the top-ranked
defense. It wasn't anywhere near this high, bro. Check the numbers out. You see it. Nowhere near this. And that's what and Mac is out. I don't know when he's coming back. So this is going to be a huge test for us. Huge. That old line is about to get that work. So I hope they're ready. GVR, JMS, all the initials we can use.
Jeff Hafley's another name if you want a defensive coordinator. Hafley. Green Bay.
I heard his name popped around. Feel free to try to sell me on, but
dude, I don't. At this point, I don't care. I just want a guy who can come in and win us some darn football games.
This is brutal. Your question about do we have touch on is Debo gonna make it to the whole season? Honestly,
yeah, we did. Well, we said he's not going to get fired for who's going to be fired first, him or McDaniel, and we said that we said McDaniel because he's still got Dart to fall back on, but we might be seeing the first bit of Dart this weekend. So
I don't think he's going to make it.
It wouldn't shock me if he doesn't.
If Mara does that, I'll be a little bit shocked. Because in
January,
over? Huh?
Do you think it would be Kafka taking over as the interim?
Is that how that works?
It's him or Bowen. Unless they go like some kind of crazy deep dive in like Andre Patterson.
The idea of Bowen being a head coach, you wouldn't like the whole Giants franchise on fire and the whole fandom on fire? Let him be the head coach. And this whole thing will go south real quick. Kafka being the head coach, I mean, has he done that before?
Kafka, no.
Yeah. Oh, man. I said it because Mar was basically about to lose his mind in January and February. He was about to go crazy. So the patience level is running short, and we are winless right now. I don't know how we get all the way to week 17 and week 18, and I don't know how you survive that. We're looking really, really bad, and we're barely scraping 3 wins, the same as last year, and they put more money in. You see the numbers that I told you about, 2 weeks ago? All these guys, Javon Holland, Roy Robertson Harris, see the numbers I was sharing. I don't have them now, but Mara ain't trying to hear that. J-Ball will not make it if this continues. I'll predict that part. He won't get to the end of the season. What else we got?
I don't think we have too much, man. I think
how are we supposed to get all the way into the end of the season? How are we supposed to do this? What are there any kind of a coping mechanism we can use? How do we cope? What do other Giants broadcast do? What do they do? Do they watch other teams? What are we supposed to do? Play fantasy? What's the coping mechanism? What do we do? Because we can't do 0 for the entire season. We'd be insane by then. What do we do? I don't know.
I'm all out of ideas, man. I got none for you.
Sorry to hear that, man. I should needed that one. I should need some help with that. Man. Well, long story short, in my assessment, the Giants threw away 3 opportunities to shock the world and be at 3-0 and help make our predictions in the preseason have a shot at taking place. They blew that. So from that point, that's just I'm Mr. U. We are feeling blue. We're out of here.